Hey, welcome to MGTOW is Freedom. I'm the host of the show, host of the channel. I'm John. And thanks to all you returning subscribers. I know you guys know how to find your way back, but if you're a new viewer to this, right, click subscribe right down there. Click the subscribe button, and next to it's a little bell. Click that. It'll bring you back here, notify you anytime there's a new video. So this video is about feminists, and feminists, how they attack everyone they can, and specifically how weak feminism is, that they have to attack a 10-year-old boy, right? So I think there's going to be an effect here, but I want to talk about first the attacks. The boy is Baron Trump, little Baron von Trump, the president's son. 10-year-old kid has no idea, right? No idea. He's just the president's kid. He's 10 fucking years old, What's he supposed to do? Right? He's got to be the president's kid. But Trump, he's just been like devastating to the feminists. He attacks them, he attacks pigs, he attacks fatties. He doesn't really cut a lot of slack. So I understand why feminists and liberals everywhere just can't stand the guy. And I think it's funny as fuck. But they had to go after his son because they can't go after Trump. So let's start with some of the major celebrity attacks on this kid, right? Julie Bowen, who is the star of this show called Modern Family. That tells you right away, if the TV has a show called Modern Family and she's the star, that means she's probably a single mom, and I didn't even go look it up. I don't have to, I don't want to. The woman's a bitch, and she's playing the part of probably the victimized, underappreciated, overworked, doesn't get enough help from the loser dad, mom. The bullshit. So what does she do? She tweets pics about him, right? And putting little thoughts and caricatures in his mind. Now again, it would be different if it was just, any random kid with no name. But this kid has a name, right? We know who he is. And if these were just regular people on the street like me, and they wanted to harass somebody, celebrity or not, young or not, it would be different. But these are people with positions of power. They're celebrities. And they're trying to use that influence to come after people on the internet. People who tweet, people who pay attention. Right? They're trying to take advantage of poor little Baron here for their own gain. To make themselves look like bigger, more powerful feminists, right? So she tweeted a bunch of pics of Baron with her little comments, and she got in trouble for it. Right, the next one I want to talk about is Saturday Night Live's Katie Rich, right? She said Baron was going to be the first homeschooler shooter this nation has ever had, right? What the fuck is that all about? Where does Katie Rich, come into the world of feminism, apart from being part of, the media, the comedy media? And I had to write these down because it's a bit ridiculous. She was part of a feminist rally where she said, someday, I'm paraphrasing, women should have the same rights as guns. What the fuck is that about? She's definitely a feminist, right? She's attending a feminist rally and said something that stupid like, let's see, if women were guns, they would be banned from airports, banned from schools and colleges. Let's see, you'd have to have a 72-hour cooling off period before you could touch a woman. And if you wanted to buy her, you'd have to wait 10 days before you could pick her up. Is that what she means? She wants, women to have the same rights as guns, like you can't go near polling places on election day. Hey, I can agree with that one, Katie, you dumb fuck. How about another? When you're not using the woman, you have to lock her up the same way you do a gun. There we go. Now that makes sense. Lock them up. Katie's not only a feminist, she's a fucking idiot. She had to tweet some shit about Baron. And last but not least, poor Rosie O'Donnell. I don't even have to give you her feminist pedigree, right? She brought up the fact that he looked antisocial, or she retweeted someone else's information, right? That he's antisocial and he's possibly autistic, right? And Rosie has had a personal, long-standing problem with Donald Trump. So it's obvious that anything she says, she's not going to come out and be nice. Where's her why are we supposed to believe this? Where can we possibly believe that Rosie O'Donnell gives a fuck? She doesn't. She cares about herself. She's a feminist. She's afraid to come out and talk about Donald Trump because he will probably call her a fucking pig again, right? Yeah, President of the United States or not, that bitch needs to be kept in her place, right? And maybe he'll just have someone else go swat her down. And as the pièce de résistance, or maybe just in the interest of completeness, Stefan Spinola, who's a writer for Comedy Central or something, tweeted, if someone were to rape my mom, I wish it was like Barron, because he's got a small peepee. It would be painless and they'd get lots of money for it. So he comes out and he kind of goes after and uses Barron for his audience, right? What's he doing? What kind of feminist is he? Right? Well, he's probably degrading Barron, the size of his penis, in order to make himself feel better about his plight, trying to impress other feminists, right, and show them what a good white knight he is, right? What a good metrosexual Stefan Spinola is. What a fucking douche, right? What a dickhead. So you've got these people attacking a boy. Attacking a boy. But what's that going to do, right? What's the actual negative fallout that has happened? Because these celebrity feminists have decided to attack a young man. Well, number one, they all got karate chopped. One of them, the one for Saturday Night Live, she got suspended. Probably fired. Who knows? They'll let her back out of the closet in a while. The other one is really, who gives a fuck? Rosie O'Donnell, you're done anyway. And this Spinola guy, you're just a fucking douche, man, picking on a little boy like that. Just stupid shit. But what has it done? It's created a backlash. Oh, I don't want to forget Chelsea Clinton. Now, like all good Hillary Clintons out there, Chelsea came out and defended little Barron and said, oh, we shouldn't mess with people. And then she made the rest of it about herself. So she jumped on the coattails of Barron Trump in order to get more attention paid to her. Because she wanted to say, boo-hoo-hoo, I was a child in the White House and blah, blah, and started talking about herself. Typical fucking feminist, right? So the backlash, what's the upshot about this? Where's the MGTOW in this, John? Well, the MGTOW is men, as they see these fucking transparent attacks on manhood, it just makes them despise feminists all the more. It just allows us to see feminism more in everyday life. They aren't confined to a college campus. They're not stuck in a textbook or on some film from 1973 burning bras. They're feminist, they're fierce, and they're in our face, right? They're all over the place. And it's becoming more apparent to men everywhere that they're unattractive, that they're unintelligent, that they're undesirable. And it is hurting the feminist movement, and I think that's fucking great. But I don't want them to just go away and quietly hide right underneath their lichen-covered rocks. I want them to be exposed in the full daylight of sun and wilted. I don't want feminism to be quiet for 6 months now. I want them to come out and keep showing America and the world how stupid they are. What fools they are. They want to be like guns. That's dumb. Right? But they attack the president's son. And they demonstrate how weak they are. That they have to go after a boy. A young boy. Well, sorry to little Barron, but hey, everybody else got something out of it. We got to see what weak arguments the feminists have. And that they have to go after someone who is intellectually incapable of standing up to their arguments. He may have the platform as the president's son, but, he's not used to arguing with feminists. He lives in a house where Donald Trump is his dad, and he's a real man. He fucking tells it like it is. Right? You may not agree with his marriage policy, just like I may not. But you've got to give it to Trump. He'll fucking stand up and say it like it is. He's got enough balls that he took his private money and ran for the president of the United States. He went after the queen fucking mother of feminists and called her fucking terrible names during the debates. Told her he'd put her in jail. Said she's a horrible woman. He called her a fucking liar. Right? He did not back down to her. He taught Barron that's how you treat him. And then Barron is seeing these feminists come after him. Other boys are seeing the same thing. I'm sure when Chelsea was in the White House, little girls everywhere, because I read this, said, oh, look, the little princess story coming out. Young men everywhere are going to see Barron Trump in the White House. And they're going to know, hey, I could be like that kid, right? Not putting up with feminist bullshit and watching them get called for it. Watching them get attacked. So MGTOW is not just for old guys or divorced guys. It's not just for young men in their 20s. MGTOW is going to find its way down to men who are pubescent and prepubescent. They're going to find out they don't have to put up with that shit. They can make their own decisions. Right? They don't have to take shit off of women just because women believe that they've been put down so long they have a right to do that to anybody they want. And I think that's fantastic. So I invite stupid-ass celebrities everywhere and gold-digging whores, feminists in the trade. Come on out. Keep tweeting away. Keep telling us and showing us how stupid you really are. Now, right, I want to thank everyone for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, right, down there, hit the subscription button. Subscribe and hit the bell so you get alerts. And I really want to thank all you guys. A bunch of guys. You've hit the fan funding down there and flipping me a couple bucks here and there to contribute to my delinquency, right? To the Scotch and Cigar Fund. So I really appreciate that. That's cool. Helps pay the bills. Helps buy me some goodies. And as always, the most worthwhile thing on this channel is to put my ideas on here and then see your guys' comments. Sharing your comments is probably the single most important thing you can do. Because other men that come to MGTOW, they'll read those and they'll get your information and they'll start to think about it, right? Because MGTOW is freedom, right? When you realize you've been imprisoned, when you realize you're a slave, when you realize you live in a gynocentric world, it is only then that you can feel the restriction and then you can break through it and break out and realize that you're the man. You can say, I have the penis, and you're done with it, right? And even young boys like Barron can say, I have the penis to women like Rosie O'Donnell and just fucking let her know, right? He doesn't have to come out and say it publicly. He can do it in his bathroom and just look in the mirror and say, I have the penis. Rosie, you can go fuck yourself. Yeah, what a life. What a life. All right, this is John, host of MGTOW is Freedom. Semper Fi.